Hello there. I had a sudden strong urge to play Genshin last night, along with Zelda. I was debating whether or not I should give my review, maybe in this video, of Chapter 4 of Villainess, but I'm still not sure about that. For now, I want to satiate my urge, so I'm gonna do something very rare for me to do, and that's play Genshin for 2 hours, where I just explore the world and stuff. Maybe do the R&R side quest.
Downpour. Nothing will get done until it clears. Let this be a lesson to those who yesterday said I'll do it tomorrow. Thunder and lightning can be quite frightening, but don't worry. Liyue's storm and fire defenses are second to none.
I need a fitting exploration team. Oh, right, the event. That's a thing. I'm kinda doing my Toho dailies as well. There's a new event going on, but I'm gonna wait until... Huh? Excuse me? There we go. Ah, marvelous merchandise. I don't care about the Mora. Hmm. Let's see how much I can earn while doing as little as possible in Toho. I believe our stuff is in Liyue. Never mind, they're not.
Ah, the sun is out. Our work's done for the day. Shall we take a stroll?
I'm using mobile data at the moment, by the way.
I'm all for work-life balance, but
I can't
I
upload
think
any
this
of
is
my
pushing
videos
it.
again. But hey, at least Genshin is working nice. I can't play Path to Nowhere though, I have no idea why. Apparently there's a new costume for Hela. The latest event that's happening. So that's fantastic. I can't fucking get it.
Come on, enough
That's not
procrastinating.
as
Let's
fantastic.
go.
think this team will do for now for the commissions.
In adventuring, as in business, you always have to seize the opportunity while it's there.
I know, Catching. Shut up. I'm gonna do my commissions now. I feel ya. I can relate. I'm sorry. I hate doing nothing as well. I do have a lot to say about Chapter 4. Specifically about Manaria, but I don't know, I just really don't feel like talking about Villainess right now. Maybe the face of love is finally starting to wear off. That's not the case though, I'm just joking with that one. I mean, I'm writing fanfiction as we speak. It's just, college life is so tumultuous. Yes, I guess nothing's stopping me. It's just, I do have lots of videos I want to watch.
Incoming!
Hello there. This is really terrible. Oh well, quicken it.
No!
Fuck.
Here comes the catch. Gotcha. I'll settle this. Dissipate.
No one will stop me from fighting Electro with Electro.
I see everything. Don't blink. Yeah. Hey.
My blade.
Incoming. Hey, cut to the chase. Stand with me. Out of my way. Quietly now.
Cheap tricks.
I see everything. Don't blink. Busted. Speed of light. Hey!
Yeah, I probably could have just broken this. I know. Claiming the spirit points and coins from the shrine isn't actually necessary. I think I'll start hoarding my coins. I'm close to getting 1250 seal crystals again. And when that happens, that means I'm guaranteed to get myself another EX tier character. At worst. I'm gonna do that. Well, I guess in the weeklies it does. And there are other ways to get all the weekly rewards. The Temple of Wisdom. You know, I honestly thought Nahida would have PTSD of this room,
Make yourselves at home.
considering how long she was trapped there.
Gotcha.
But apparently she doesn't mind using it for her burst.
Dissipate. Lightning. Don't blink. Grow, grow, grow. I'm so sorry.
Miscalculated.
Busted.
My energy.
Stand with me.
Time to fulfill my duty.
Committed to memory. Incoming.
Whoa. Dendro shreds the shield. Yeah, catching is such a weird DPS. I really do feel like I need a cryo or hydro DPS. It would be nice if Ayaka got a rerun, and of course I still want a physical DPS, which is Eula. Pyro, Electro, Cryo, and Physical I believe would be more than enough variety in DPS elements. I do technically have Geo and the Nemo DPSs as well in the form of Sucrose and Ningguang, but they both kinda suck.
Shogun must have her reasons.
The new book from Yai Publishing House is out. Come take a look.
Everything is going smoothly, just as I planned.
Please speak to President Sung. I just...
Dissipate!
If you keep adding new stuff, people will expect that they'll come back again and again. It's a quick way to disappoint readers. JoJo, MHA, many others. I've fallen into that trap many a times. Well, since I'm playing for a long time, I may as well. It is a Sunday.
Add Astra
I was gonna say,
sauce.
since I don't care about Layla
Thank you for
anymore,
completing
what artifact should I go for? And then I just realized it's Sunday,
Add Astra.
so I should focus on weapons. Why am I even bothering with these? Goddamn expeditions. Let's go put Yalan or something. the last one should perform Freyr. Sure, I'm out of free pulse. There's only the the Force 10-time thingy anniversary ritual. Oh well. There you go.
The criteria for certificate exams are straightforward enough. What it really comes down to is whether you are willing to put in the time. If you study and practice, then it's really not all that difficult.
The Krabby Patty secret formula is mine! And it's nothing like you'd expect. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, the channel that's here to correct the culinary mistakes of our past. In case you've been living under a rock, which honestly would be on theme with this particular franchise, SpongeBob SquarePants is the iconic Nickelodeon cartoon all about a yellow sponge flipping burgers for minimum wage. It's got musicals, it's got memes, but most importantly of all, it's got the single most legendary food mystery in all of television, the Krabby Patty secret formula. See, SpongeBob isn't just flipping burgers, he's flipping the burger. The be-all, end-all, and underwater quick-serve concoctions. It's a burger beyond compare. A patty so good that it holds together the fabric of reality.
If you ever have any questions...
Social order! Dark times are ahead! Dark times indeed!
Seriously, aren't you overreacting a bit?
Has ever seen lines this long?
Excuse us, we like 3,000 Krabby Patties, please!
Unless, of course, you're talking about Mr. Beast Burger, but then again, because every bag has like a chance of containing, what, $10,000 in it or something, the Krabby Patty's able to do it on flavor alone. This thing is to die for. Literally based on this guy who's about to die from consuming too many of them and gets doctor's orders. I mean, if you love it so much, why don't you marry it, right? Oh wait, that's actually less of a joke than I think. But what makes this patty so good? Well, in the show, it's kept as a secret that not even the loyalist of employees knows.
How can we make more Krabby Patties without the secret formula?
You've got to have that formula memorized by now!
The employee handbook clearly states, and I quote, "No employee may impart or know commit the Krabby Patty secret formula to any recorded, written, or visual form, including memory, streams, and/or needlepoint."
Curse you,
What?
fine friend!
Now, at face value, this shouldn't be too hard to figure out, right? I mean, it's just a hamburger. Get yourself some ground meat, slap some seasoning in there, and call it a day. Heck, the show even tells us exactly how to assemble the burger.
I can't put a patty on a bun with lettuce, cheese, onions, tomatoes, ketchup, mustard, pickles, and top bun together in that order.
But remember, we're not talking about the condiments, but rather the patty itself. That is the lingering mystery in this thing. And for not just one, but 2 decades, the truth behind the Krabby Patties managed to elude even the best minds. Rival business owners are risking life, limb, and cute teeny antennae in their attempts to find out what makes this perfect patty stand out from the rest.
I'll take one secret formula to go.
And today, I've got it. Call me Plankton, but I think I solved it. After reviewing all the footage as well as reading tons of interviews, I think I've got it locked in. The definitive recipe for the patty. Let's just say we've all been wrong about what's inside of it for a long time. Now, if you're subscribed to my other channels,
okay,
you
it's
probably
always
noticed
gonna
this
be
is my
5
first
digits.
time taking a crack at the old Krabby Patty mystery. And if you're not subscribed to those, here's your friendly reminder to do that now. I actually covered this exact topic over on Film Theory a few years ago. But to be honest, I wasn't all that happy with how the episode turned out. At the time, I concluded that the whole secret ingredient thing was just hype. A god-tier level of marketing genius coming from none other than Mr. Krabs himself. But it just never sat right with me. I mean, no amount of marketing is ever going to make someone do this. At least I hope not. But we're older now, wiser, and most importantly, we have ourselves a legitimate food channel. It is now my literal job to figure out how recipes work, which means I'm ready to finally tackle this topic with fresh eyes. Step aside, Mr. Krabs, because your secret is out. Let's start by looking at the moments in the show when we've seen the secret formula on screen. In the episode Spy Buddies, we actually get this look at the supposed secret formula. It's got math, it's got molecules, it's a formula, alright, but for what? The formula reads quantity x minus 2 plus 1 equals Krabby Patty. The variable here, though, is x, not Krabby Patty. And if you solve for x, we actually get this. X equals Krabby Patty plus 1, Krabby Patty plus something. This isn't a formula for Krabby Patties, it's the formula for something made with Krabby Patties. I'm assuming it's the Krabby Patty with cheese, something that we can clearly see is offered by the Krusty Krab. For the real Krabby Patty secret formula, we need to turn to a different episode, Krabby Road. In this episode, we get a direct look at a portion of the ingredients list, and it is absolute gibberish. I'm not kidding. 1 teaspoon of Schwarzweisel, 4 cups of Gershkirsch, chopped diffre. You might think that all these random letters are a code or a cipher, but nope, it's not. I've tried, the internet's tried. It really is just someone slamming their hands on a keyboard. Well, hold your seahorses, because when asked if the crew purposely hid the names of the ingredients to not reveal their true identity, executive producer Vincent Waller said this. Yes. He did say more than that, though. He continued with, the formula shall always remain secret. This is huge because it confirms that while these gibberish words aren't the real ingredients, this is the real recipe with real measurements. Looks like someone may have overplayed their hand there, Mr. Executive Producer. So let's break it down, shall we? At first glance, these mysterious ingredients may look to be unidentifiable, but look again. 4 cups of gish, that is a lot of whatever that ingredient is. Clearly, 4 cups of something is going to be the patty's base. Next up, we have diffge chopped. Well, I'm no expert in diffge, but I have read enough recipes at this point to know that it's actually really common to see a whole onion listed as just onion instead of 1 onion. And what do you know, but onions are normally seen as chopped when used in patty recipes. That then leaves us with the ingredient that only needs 1 teaspoon. Surely I can't tell what it is just by looking at the formula, right? Right. Yeah, honestly, there's no way to tell what this is based on the scene. However, we're not just limited to this one scene. There's plenty more information at our disposal. In the episode Friend or Foe, we flash back to the origins of the Krabby Patty. You see, this miracle food began as something known as the Plab Patty, a patty co-created by both Mr. Krabs and his once business partner turned rival restaurateur Plankton. In the episode, we learned that the pair worked tirelessly to craft the perfect burger, and the result was awful.
The Plab Patty was proven to be disgusting, dangerous, and diabolical.
However, in a stroke of pure luck, a series of ingredients fell into the mix which would turn this bad patty into a fab patty, and thus culinary history was made. But what were those secret ingredients? Well, it's at this point that I should probably mention Bikini Bottom Mysteries, an official SpongeBob spin-off uploaded here on YouTube.com that investigates some of the most mysterious parts of the show's lore. Seems like a good source of information, right? It is an official extension and all. Well, that's what I thought, so I decided to check it out. In their episode covering the Krabby Patty secret formula, they focused a lot on this moment of the ingredients falling in, but their conclusion wasn't what you'd expect. They say that the Krabby Patty formula never changed from the original Plab Patty formula.
That's right. The Plab Patty batter was never changed at all.
The narrator then goes on to say that none of the ingredients that fell into the goop actually mixed with the original formula.
They were never even taken out of their bottles, never able to mix with the rest of the batter.
Excuse me? We know for certain that at least some of them did. Look at that open bottle. Look at the new reaction that people have to the reformulated burger. It cannot be the same. The narrator then has the gall to tell us that there were 6 mystery ingredients that fell into the Plab Patty mixture, when clearly there were 7 bottles and jars on the shelf.
But newly uncovered footage reveals a shocking truth about those 6 ingredients.
In short, the evidence heavily suggests that this guy is an unreliable narrator, withholding information and outright lying to us to protect the secret formula. He's gaslighting us in the hopes that we lose the patty scent. So let's instead take a closer look at what we actually see fall into the Plab Patty mixture. First, we can clearly see that the Krabby Patty contains chili peppers. Notice the long red here with the little caps of green. This tells us that the Krabby Patty is going to have itself a bit of a kick. Next, we have ourselves a bottle with lit fire on it. While this could certainly be an additional hot sauce, those bottles tend to feature pepper imagery more than fire imagery. When it comes to fire, that more frequently appears on bottles of liquid smoke, which would give these grilled patties a bit more outdoorsy wood fire flavor. Next up, this one right here has got happy breadcrumbs. Not only are they a common binder used in a patty making process, but more importantly, look at the structural difference between Plankton's chum burgers and the Krabby Patty. Planktons tend to ooze around and are generally shapeless blobs of ground meat. The inclusion of breadcrumbs, though, would help the patty maintain its structure, which now leaves us with four unidentifiable ingredients that literally give us no clue and look practically interchangeable. If only there was another episode out there that mentioned 4 almost identical ingredients. Oh wait, there is. In the episode The Great Patty Caper, because apparently the first episode titled Patty Caper wasn't enough, the ingredients turmeric, salt, flour, and barnacle shavings were explicitly confirmed to be part of the Krabby Patty recipe.
We start with flour. Next we add barnacle shavings. We do the next one together, eh?
Now, one of those things is clearly not like the others. Barnacle shavings? What's going on there? Well, believe it or not, but while it sounds pretty gross, in reality, barnacle shells are just calcium. And calcium is actually really good for fish. This is what's known as fortification. And it's no different than your eggs having added vitamin D or your water having added minerals. Like humans, fish need calcium to build their bones. Not a lot, but some. Like, say, maybe a single teaspoon? Thought I'd forgotten about that one, hadn't you? Well, I didn't. And a small amount of barnacle-shaved calcium can go a long way. So that then takes care of our gibberish ingredients list as well as the 7 jars that we see fall into the Plab Patty vat, which leaves us with the last and possibly most disturbing ingredient to be hiding in your Krabby Patty, chum. In the episode Friend or Foe, we see that it's definitely part of the recipe. Even in Bikini Bottom Mysteries, they close out their episode with the reveal of chum.
Is that they each contain an entire pinch of chum. That's right. The very same repulsive ingredient used at the chum bucket.
Now, if you aren't up to date with your fishing lingo, chum refers to the ground mixture of fish and blood that's used to attract larger, more predatory animals like sharks. Which just doesn't seem right, does it? Is Mr. Krabs really selling his customers the ground up remains of their fellow fish? Are fish secretly cannibals? Is that why they love the Krabby Patty so much? No, no, and no. A very small minority of fish will eat fish parts. Cannibalism is only present in approximately 1% of all fish, and the Krabby Patty clearly casts itself a wider net. But even more importantly, we have irrefutable evidence that the Krabby Patty is vegan. The patty itself, mind you, the actual sandwich is vegetarian because it contains cheese. Anyway, according to the show's creator, the late Steven Hillenburg, the Krabby Patty contains no animal parts. It's also been confirmed by a current executive producer, and if you have any doubt about it, here in the Sponge Out of Water movie, we get a close-up of the Krabby Patty being made in real life. That right there has the signature puck shape of a veggie burger, meaning that the base of the Krabby Patty isn't beef like everyone tends to assume. Instead, those 4 cups of gish are more likely to be beans. Fava beans, to be exact. According to Dr. Gavin Ramsey, fava beans have the potential to be great protein sources for fish. But, just like we see with beef, too much of a good thing is not always a good thing. Other studies have shown that eating too much fava bean can actually be bad for fish. Sound familiar? Like maybe someone getting sick enough that they die from consuming too many Krabby Patties against doctor's orders? This does leave us with one major question, though. How could the Krabby Patty be a plant-based patty but still contain a pinch of chum? Those two facts seem directly contradictory, but both are coming from irrefutable sources. Well, even though the word chum refers to a mixture of fish guts, by definition, it can also refer to chopped up vegetable matter. Vegetable matter, like the true secret ingredient in all of this, red algae. You see, one of the main problems with the Krabby Patty being vegan is that plant-based patties lack the natural juices that come from meat patties. And without added sugar, it's also challenging to get those patties to brown. But both of these are well-established characteristics of the Krabby Patty. They're juicy, they brown nice. So we know that there's gotta be something more at play here, and that is where red algae comes in. Thanks to research out of Yamoja, a marine ingredient startup based in Israel, vegans can now experience all the crisping, browning, and bleeding goodness that make meat lovers go wow. By using a specific strain of Porphyridium, a type of red algae, Yamoja has created a plant-based meat substitute known as onion. When cooked, onion changes color from red to brown, emits a meaty aroma, and has meat-like juices that don't just congeal, they crunch. That is to say, the outside of the burger develops a pleasant, crisp texture when cooked, just like we see happening in the show. Also, this is far from being the first time that we've heard of red algae being consumed for food. If you're a fan of sushi, you're probably familiar with nori, the thin black sheets of seaweed commonly used in sushi rolls. This seaweed is actually a type of red algae. Back in the episode Friend or Foe, they outright confirm that seaweed sauce is part of the patty's original recipe. Why is Mr. Krabs so dead set on keeping the Krabby Patty secret formula a secret? Is it to avoid competition? Or is it because he's scared of what his customers might think? Mr. Krabs is far from a fool when it comes to business, and he knows that people
Alright, let's see here. The weapon I want to level up is definitely Rosaria's weapon. And I believe there's another one I'm interested in. This thing.
So the fact that his patties are plant-based is something that he'd rather keep under wraps. This is why he's not afraid to pull out all the stops if it means no one finds out about the Krabby Patty's juicy
You need the rock as well as the goddamn shit.
It's possible that fish actually like red algae and thus would be receptive, if not intrigued by a
You also need the rocks and the goddamn bullshit.
Red algae as part of their daily diets. In fact, fish are actually known to enjoy and even benefit from many of the ingredients listed in the Krabby Patty. Beans, chili peppers, onions, even turmeric. All are things that fish have been known to eat, making it no surprise that they ended up in a successful formula for the Krabby Patty. So there you have it, theorists. That is what's in a Krabby Patty. 4 cups of fava beans, 1 chopped onion, enough breadcrumbs to bind it, liquid smoked chili pepper, turmeric, 1 teaspoon of a calcium supplement, flour, salt, seaweed sauce, and lastly the big secret, red algae extract. And of course love. The love and pride that one yellow sponge has for his little baby burgers. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna live out a childhood fantasy by frying up a double Krabby Patty with the works. 14-year-old me's been wanting to try this one for a while.
Where did my charger go? Oh, right.
A secret formula that needs to be protected from any and all pride.
I'll charge my iPad later, I guess.
Home security. Simply Safe is the award-winning security system that equips your home with cutting-edge.
Looking at the list of genres, though, it reveals just how prevalent fighting really is in games. Just the phrase fighting game doesn't really give you an idea of what you're playing alone. This is a fighting game, but it's also a subgenre of fighting game. Well, this is a beat 'em up. Distinctly different from what we understand a fighting game to be. Well, this is a character action game, which also isn't a beat 'em up unless it kind of is, and oh god, this is getting confusing. We have so many games with conflict as a mechanism that we can draw reasonably distinct lines in the sand between types of combat. And it's not just that we have a lot of games that use combat, it's that they're consistently successful. The most popular, financially lucrative, and critically receptive games are ones that, if not are about fighting, at least involve
time to broaden the horizons again.
Another. Normally, not always, I know, so it can't just be that devs really want to beat the shit out of things. There has to be something more here. Something about games that makes a punch-up...
You want me on your team?
Something that gives games a culture.
Nahida DPS, Bennett support.
It should be noted that this isn't a recent
and energy.
As far as games go back, you can
Yell
find
and sub DPS and reaction.
even if it's a bit too
This should allow me to
recognized for what it is.
In the early days, this presented itself mostly as shooting, typically from bottom to top, thanks to plagiarism and something Space Invaders. Is Pac-Man combat? Am I about to draw the connection that Pinky is directly responsible for Shadows of the Damned? Probably not.
What?
But even if I'd be channeling Stretch Armstrong to call any of these violent, that doesn't mean they aren't depicting violence. So many early games feature the concept of death, whether that be Mario climbing a ladder or Dig Dug's inflation fetish going wrong, because games are often made with rules that just align with peril. Before even getting any actual idea of gameplay, a lot of titles made for arcades would exist in a loop. The amount of data that you can handle is extremely small, processing capabilities are low, so games were best created as endless cycles for you to see how long you can last. The actual process of that loop might be important to why you like the game, but what's key for the time period is that it ends in failure. How do you justify to someone or effectively communicate why they failed? Well, you kill them. That's not to say that it has to be death.
well,
you
shit.
can abstractly break out and just beat your rules, but the moment that you give the game context, it just makes sense. Why can't I do anything anymore? Well, you're dead, and unless you're a copyright holder, you no longer have control over this world. This interaction then goes on to contextualize other game elements. If they're killing you and you're able to impede their ability to kill you, you're fighting back. That's the case for a lot of old game systems, where the context could be anything.
Electro really doesn't
the
suit
best
here.
aligns with is combat. It's two pieces
many
of data
Electro
that travel
slimes.
towards each other in real time. Maybe there's a third bit, ignore it for now. And if one of them touches the other, Object A becomes the small nation with oil to Object B's American military presence. Not inherently combat, but they don't exactly do drone strikes as an act of friendship. The thing is, the kind of fast reactive mechanics that were bred in an environment of limitation didn't get less entertaining as time went on. As hardware improved and games started to open up in their potential, this style of gameplay had more and more room to grow alongside new types of challenges. The mechanics of play were never succeeded.
And I can
they
get
just
more
morphed
energy
and got
other
more
ways,
elaborate.
such as
So as hardware evolved,
to Dendro.
combat evolved. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again, again. Today you've got a mix of games where the systems use combat as its aesthetic glove, titles that
Can
develop
also use
combat
Gene,
and then
maybe.
construct a game around that system, and heroin for children, or, as they know it, digital materialism. War has changed. But it also hasn't gone anywhere. A part of that is thanks to how structurally games continue to expand in their potential. A push and pull developed in game systems, where the game wants to return you to a fail state, like older titles, but the player isn't just surviving, they're striving towards a win condition. You want to finish the level, and the game wants to send you to the game over screen. This tug of war between you and what you're playing is incredibly important to why combat gets drawn in time and time again. With games primarily being designed around this two-way conflict, the systems built often reflect that conflict. That could manifest simply as winners and losers, but the types of challenges that best enhance the dynamic between the player and the game still make the most sense as combat. When games don't have a defined fail state, and in the process drop this relationship, suddenly brawling seems to fall away. Older ideas of puzzle games, like Tetris, that go by a fail state have given way to those of Infinifactory, or Steven Sausage Roll, with defined win conditions, but failure only being defined by someone giving up. The thing is, when puzzle games do incorporate more definitive fail states, that's often contextualized as peril, which you communicate as danger, which suddenly turns into, yo, you better not get shot! At that point, you're knocking on combat's door, and suddenly you end your puzzle game with a boss fight and rocket launchers. Why does Paul have rocket launchers? This wasn't in Tetris! However, if you were to look outside of conventional game structure, looking at games that exist without the concept of winning or losing, you'll find games like Animal Crossing or Valhalla. These games are all interesting in their own right, yet very few can house combat. Not because they're games about
Still 1.5 minutes.
whatever, it's that without the concept of failure, a fight doesn't make sense. That's why if you look at Stardew Valley, which is a farming game that has fighting in it, it has to create a fail state, just so that it can facilitate the concept. Still though, just because you can fail doesn't mean you need to fight, which is reflected by the extremely wide variety of platformers out there. These also fit the structure of a failure and victory tug of war. The player wants to get to the end, and the level wants to, for lack of a better word, kill you. The challenges are created by making the environment either complex enough that you make misjudgments about your own movement, or by using environments that require precision from the player to traverse them correctly. This by itself is already an incredibly flexible system, and great at testing the player's dexterity, yet inside of it is a property that makes designing interesting scenarios a struggle. The player is always the one approaching failure. Not inherently a problem, but it limits how situations are paced. There's a lack of urgency when the player has all the control, letting them collect their thoughts and think in a more calculated, deliberate fashion. There are ways around this, like how Dust Force will put you in positions where you have to use the momentum from one movement to make the next movement, but not every game can or even should employ this type of scenario. A lot of the time, there's a value to bringing the fail state to the player and having them need to work around it. It makes them think and behave in a different, more immediate way that makes situations engaging. That can be done with a timer, or moving hazards, or the point of the video. That's the solution a lot of older NES-era platformers took. They might not be great as platformers, but by using basic fights to supplement the space, they made for an engaging set of challenges. Navigating the environment effectively, on top of recognizing when you need to slow down, take a fight, or avoid danger, creates a set of layers to difficulty
Everybody
Giving even a
stand
simple
back.
game about physical
No, you
spaces
fuck.
variety.
this
All
on
the stuff
yourself.
regarding the environment is still largely consistent with judgment, but when you put enemies in the environment that you can actively deal with, you gain extra challenges between avoidance and action. And letting the player distinguish which of those approaches is best for the situation creates active choices, which is what makes whipping the skeletons so fun. Now, is the combat here good? No. Not necessarily. Even in Castlevania, which I love, the actual combat system isn't very complicated or entertaining. You use the whip, then you use the whip some more, then you whip some more thing, then you use an item. When I say I love the combat in classic Castlevania, I mean it for one, and secondly, what I really mean is that I like the interesting challenges that they make through level design that focus on dexterity. Enemies are positioned to trip you up and make you second guess yourself, not just sit there and be a thing to hit. Like in this section of Castlevania 3, where you have to get past this guy, and you have to come down to him. So you can either jump down, or you can take the stairs. But either situation has its own pros or cons. Jumping gets you down quicker, so you can attack earlier, but if you mistime it and he throws a fireball, you get knocked into the pit behind you, killing you instantly. The stairs might get you down safer since you're locked to them, but slower. And if he throws a fireball at the right height, he can still hit you, so sometimes it might even be riskier depending on your health. Once you're down there and you're having to deal with him in a combat scenario, which admittedly is not that complicated, you'll probably have a bat spawn behind you. This throws a massive wrench in the works, requiring you to make a decision and execute on it properly before you can really calculate what the best choice is. Trying to figure out whether it's better to keep on attacking him or the bat, or just ignore the bat and jump over it. But make sure if you are going to jump over the bat, you do it in the right way, because otherwise, it's just all fucked now. The combat here isn't what's fun. We're years out from turning this into Devil May Cry. The fun is figuring out what approach is best for you to take in a high-pressure environment and executing on it. It takes a simple dexterity challenge in platforming and places it alongside another dexterity and decision-based challenge through combat, to make for a game that feels almost timeless. You know, in the formative years where games started to be a bit more familiar to games as we know it, they were still very limited to scenarios regarding dexterity. And even without that limitation, other types of challenges didn't seem to fit the novelty of video games. If I wanted a game that was slow and calculated, I'd go play like Scotland Yard, filling out my taxes. This reinforced combat in the collective idea space. It's fast, it's snappy, and like a lot of other real-time challenges, it's immediately engaging. When the tug-of-war structure encourages combat, and the data that you can work with is still encouraging combat, guess what? We keep making combat. This is where conditioning comes into play. Challenges are repeatedly contextualized as fighting, with death and axes and guns, because that's the solution to problems that works for most games. Repeat that over several years though, and gradually fighting and enemies as mechanical solutions become normalized. With that, the language surrounding games shifts as the solution solves many problems. And there comes a point where you stop contextualizing scenarios as fighting and just start making fights. As early as 1992, this was well underway, and although a lot of the highest grossing games before that point were racing games for some reason, video game history is weird, you could debate that this process was already occurring before that point. Games like River City Ransom or Streets of Rage weren't games where fights solve design problems, they're fights from the ground up. When we talk about combat in relation to modern game development, this is normally the type of game that we're talking about. A studio like Splash Damage isn't making games where combat just so happens to solve problems, they're making combat, to the point where they're discussing combat models rather than solutions to problems that fighting might solve. The reason they're able to do that, though, isn't because killing is fun. It's that a fight fundamentally holds a lot of the building blocks that games are already built on. The idea of a winner or a loser, a struggle between however many parties are involved, and definitive, clear goals. Reduce that guy to rubble before he reduces you to rubble. There's very little ambiguity in that rule set. What is great about this, though, is that once you let the perspective flip and just try to make an interesting fight without limitation, different kinds of challenges make sense on top of the same framework.
You could and still can make games in the same vein as before, as seen by Contra or Metal Slug, but a fight is a flexible concept, where the mechanics that build this video's keyword can be anything. You can scale it up to the size of entire armies, and down to single one-on-one encounters, but there's still plenty of interesting challenges to be found in any of those processes. That's not to say that all attempts at combat inherently make for successful games. Looking at Fist of the North Star, or that pronunciation, no, this one, you can see that there's not a huge amount of fun to be drawn here. There's punching and kicking to identify it as combat, but the mechanics that govern how you interact with your opponent just seem to work at random. This makes for a shitty fight, but when we're talking about a game, on a deeper level it doesn't make for a clear test. There isn't a trial around avoidance, action, or judgment between the two. The stuff that's fun about games, you're just pressing the buttons and letting Jesus take the stick. Also, Universal Negative Edge Charge Fireball. Since there's no clear challenge, even if it has the structure that fits games, there isn't really a game built inside of it. Compare that to Street Fighter 2 and the difference is night and day, even if there's still flaws on display. Attacks have their own unique length with individual recovery timers and clear, consistent, mostly, outcomes when an attack collides with someone. It's still structurally the same, but with these seemingly small additions, the game is given a challenge. Now you're testing a player's reaction speed, decision-making through move choice, and their ability to both avoid and take action to achieve victory. Maybe it's not a great set of challenges when it comes to the single player. Street Fighter is clearly designed as a multiplayer experience, and as a single player environment it doesn't really work as well. But at least it has a challenge. Combat needs to be the medium by which you engage with an interesting trial, even if games are being designed from the ideas of combat first and challenges second. That's why Street Fighter and Doom and StarCraft and Advance Wars and XCOM, all of these games about combat with distinctly different ideas work as games. Fighting inspires the basis for interesting rules and scenarios to jump out from. Some are reflexive challenges that focus on fast thinking, some are trials based around planning and strategy, with many sitting somewhere in the middle, blending together different types of tasks to create a delicious gameplay smoothie. On the other hand, you've got games like Lisa or Fallout, The Legend of Zelda, games that aren't inherently focused on combat but still use it as a core part of telling a story. Now, game narratives still have a long way to go. For every 100 home fronts, you get one Spec Ops line, and then you show someone a genuinely well-written story and they go, "Ooh, arcade." But one thing games are really good at is setting up a world. The gruel of the undead Berg, the bustling scale of Midgard, Skyrim's illustrious Skyrim. Especially as 3D hit the mix, games had a unique opportunity to explore worlds and tell stories in a way that no other medium could. Lots of conventional stories spend a lot of time trying to allude to a larger world than they actually are. But in games, you can just make a massive world. All of that implication regarding endless rolling hills or a complexly woven castle, instead of finding ways to imply that's reality, that can just be reality. That's awesome. But the problem that it solves of having to convince someone of a scale that isn't actually there, a much larger issue rears its head of how you make that scale worth someone's time. If you don't fill that space with meaningful events, then chances are you're bored writing the story and the person playing it is going to be even more bored. But if you try and fill that space with unique and interesting characters, that's not feasible for the amount of space that you have to cover, and even then, how do they interact? Everything's got to be programmed in, and it's not like you can just fill it with simple characters. Combat helps to maintain a pace along the endless trail, even if that combat is pretty simplistic and really just a distraction as you waddle your way from plot point to plot point. It gives you something interesting to do periodically while you think about the story and the setting without having to make every single encounter super unique. Thanks to the mechanical nature of combat, randomization with a little bit of human imperfection builds individuality to each encounter. It's not exactly combat keynote, but even with a small set of enemies, you can mix and match them to realize the scale of the world without that scale also becoming boring. You fill the trail with a small set of enemies to keep the player engaged, and by extension make the world seem populated, fleshed out. The world feels dangerous and hostile, because you're experiencing it firsthand, which gives the space a tangible personality. What a treacherous,
why do they recommend
vast
Pyro
wasteland,
for this
plagued by a
domain?
swarm of
Not
guys.
like I have a choice anyway, but why?
On top of that, once combat is
I keep
introduced,
getting
you can also start to
overloaded because
use
I'm
that in
using
the
Bennett.
narrative
You know,
to
maybe I
create
should just not
climactic
use Bennett.
moments. Bringing the difficulty down to act as a lull in tension and let the player engage with the story more, or directly
Let me just
incorporate
not
it
use
and take
Bennett.
a boss fight to punctuate a narrative beat that the player is directly engaging in. While all this is great though, what combat does to a narrative is really a double-edged sword. Although we're able to string
One
the
last
player
character.
along and have them pay attention to a game, combat as a construct only fits a niche of stories. High fantasy and military narrative is suited fine. If the story and setting is built around a hostile environment, it makes perfect sense. But a game about, like, finding your place in a social group whilst also embracing your own individuality might be distracted by guns. When you introduce combat to a game and by proxy a story, you end up funneling
healer.
what tales are appropriate, because the actions that you're taking need to align with your character's goals and the narrative. Otherwise, it feels like you're picking and choosing when your game is about story and when it's about gameplay, and
Ready for
fuck me, let's ignore that elephant because he shows up sometimes even when the story and the game are about combat. When you split the player's attention though, chances are they pick one element that they care about, and in the end, the interruption by whichever part they stopped caring about ends up leaving the player frustrated since it's not what they want to engage with. This means that for a long time, the most popular stories in games are simple narratives told well through the world that often fit a typical adventure formula. There is a guy, he has a thing that you want, normally a woman.
Normally a woman.
Genocide. Either that, or horror narratives that have peril and gore, and all the archetypes that combat could introduce already be a factor in their story. Combat in this scenario needs to be the vehicle which guides a player through a narrative, and thankfully, a lot of great games have been able to do that. Chrono Trigger, which I haven't played, Silent Hill 2, which I haven't played, Metal Gear Solid, I'm starting to see a theme here, they're all great games, apparently. But when all the best stories in games, especially early in the medium's history, feature combat, it feeds into the pool where games are seen as needing combat, in whatever form that may take. Obviously, we know that's not true. We all know that, inside Rule of 3 here, and it would be stupid to assume that to be the case. None of the games that have been influential to the medium, whether that be in a narrative
At
sense
least I
or
get
from a
overloaded
mechanical
less.
perspective, was successful, stand the test of time, spawned an army of copycats that festered its way towards a genre because, wow, cool guns. They're fun challenges or experiences, with most being disguised or communicated through the veil of attrition, that when repeated for long enough builds a visual language that ends up giving us the metaphorical conversation we enjoy as we play. But that's not what people see. From a general consumer perspective, despite enjoying a game for the reason a game is well made, they're more likely to make surface level observations because of how a game is communicating to them. You know, I'm enjoying the visual spectacle of Doom, it's a fantastic surface level, but what separates that from this piece of shit isn't the fact that the guns are cooler, it's that the levels interweave on themselves in interesting ways and it's an enjoyable, explorable space. However, because of that surface level communication, when I and many other people look back at Doom, the first thing that we think is, wow, cool gun. That's not a problem, and if you're feeling smug about how you understand games, you would likely engage with another medium with the same level of misunderstanding, you pretentious dolt. You also probably fall into this trap more consistently than you realize. The games you end up paying attention to are more likely to be the ones you're already familiar with, so you're more willing to buy a game that is communicating challenge with combat than one that foregoes the convention. What this does end up doing though is cultivating a particular kind of audience that influences what products are successful and what products aren't. It's not just you falling into this trap, the majority of people invested in games are more likely to be interested in titles with combat elements.
I hear you've got a
There are
job
hates
for
that
me.
manifested as being more likely to try games with combat than without it, and on home consoles that means purchasing games that highlight and advertise their combat since that's the most immediately recognizable point of entertainment. This is a pattern that has transcended national
Let's get
cultural
this
barriers.
show on the road.
Although Asia, Europe, and the Americas all have completely different cultural perspectives, this pattern of combat-oriented games remains popular among the core audiences, even if Europe and America have a market of non-core consumers that makes games about real-world sport also financially lucrative. This starts to create a cycle, a history of games built either using combat or
Let's go
from the
get
ground
ourselves some
as
answers.
combat conditions an audience towards preconceived ideas about what games are. New games that exclude combat are not only
Try
harder
this.
to make without a point of reference to work from, but also less likely to do well since the audiences are less receptive to games without it. This made non-combat games extremely high risk, and before the independent boom in the 2010s, had an ambiguous amount of reward. Not inherently low, but with the audience that's been cultivated, you could assume it to be low. In turn, games remain combat-oriented, not necessarily having to remain safe in
What
their
the
ideas
fuck?
thanks to the flexibility of what that can be, but still feeding back into the history of games designed with combat to repeat the cycle again. I should note that racing and sports games are also extremely successful, but those types of games generally end up monopolized by those activities to drive sales. The audience there isn't really interested in games. They're interested in, at this point, games have been in the combat cycle.
Judgment!
As more combat-oriented games get made, history grows, the audience grows, and the demand grows, which at this point has been going on for so long that people who were drawn into games as a consumer are now contributing to the cycle. This is what has created the culture of combat. Games history starts at combat thanks to the content that fits an entertaining challenge with implementation. Those types of reactive challenges remained entertaining as new technology gets developed, leading to them being expanded upon instead of discarded. The context gets carried with it, and as games morph and have less limitations placed on them, context gradually starts to influence the game. This creates a history of games with combat to become the basis that more and more developers
Hello there.
Punishment!
Consumers recognizing the visual
Game's up. Time's over. Gotcha.
combat more financial
Break a leg and step.
feeding into a
What's
cycle
this? Magic lamp!
doing as games. Now, is that a good thing? I don't know. That right there is a matter of perspective. Who to figure out? For someone who's already deep in games, I've got a bias towards brain rot. I don't need to tell you that that's not all games do. If you're here, I have no doubt that you have a pretentious little art game you consider one of your favorites, to which I would say you're in good company. In recent years, we've seen a bunch of high-profile games.
I like Toho.
In turn, expanding the field. But while that doesn't stop the wheel of fate turning, I think the next 20 years of games will probably be some of the most interesting we've seen in retrospect. The games being made today without combat
Busted.
being the inspiration for a whole new
Your grand finale and step. Here comes the catch. Tap. Chop. Tap. You can't run.
Developers don't necessarily just want to make games about beating the shit out of each other. When the games you're inspired by contain combat, you're likely to build on the ideas that you previously enjoyed. The reason your imaginary game likely contained fighting is not because games are inherently combat environments, but instead how history has
Judgment.
design trends.
And step.
Aspirations, audience expectations, developing
Yeah.
combat really associated
Yeah.
So actually, he is responsible for it.
Run from death.
I guess I'm just listening to music now since I've watched everything I wanted to watch. Well, I could watch Star Road now, but I'm playing Genshin. And yeah, you know what? You know, it's the Japanese version. I'm just gonna. You hear the voices laughing from the empty field. There's a pain inside that I used to hide. Oh, they're giving from far away. From far away. With dreams and realities.
Things are about to get dicey. Quietly now. I leap. Strike is one. Judgment.
The stage sharing the night. All the stars gonna shine in your eyes. And no one can deny. It's the moon makes me feel so alive. No, sometimes I hurt you so much. You're always by my side. And the tears and the fear will say goodbye. I miss you with all my life. Take my hand until the end. There's your magic power, strike me in the heart. And this time, you and I, we're intertwined. I miss you with all my life. Take my hand until the end. Night and night, with all the magic, sparkling in the sky. Stay with me, you will be dancing into the night.
Gotcha. You can't run.
Hard. You're a bitch.
Observe. Queen Silver, quietly now. Break a leg! On leap!
Ah, you. I remember you. You're the first Fatui agent I ever fought. On my way to Liyue. Yes. Let me show you the path I took to Liyue. Yeah, first I swam. I wanted to get to this thing first. Then I ran across this guy, and then I finally arrived at Dragon Spine, and then I realized it was cold as fuck, and just decided to run away and take a long bit of detour. Came across this domain, did some more swimming, arrived here somehow. I saw Wang Chu in, I thought it looked interesting. So again, I did some more swimming. And then I saw this, and so I went there and unlocked that. And then I saw this thing, and I finally decided to follow the road and finally arrived at Liyue Harbor. If you think I'm joking about that, I have good memory, and I also recorded myself getting to Liyue. You can watch, like, part 10 or something of my Let's Play of Genshin. I'll make this the last Fatui agent I beat up.
Strike is one!
Alright, let's see if that's enough. It sure isn't. It appears I've already beaten up every Fatui agent available. Anyways, huh? I'm so great. Yep, respawning. I've killed everyone now. Well, shit. They used the same leitmotif for this song. I'm gonna focus on Yanfei first. Let's grip them. Why wouldn't I buy it, you know? I'll make sure I don't waste any of the materials I get. I believe that's the last time I need to use the greens. don't wanna use Stardust Exchange. That's only 180 for all 12. I'll still be able to purchase all the fucking tapes tomorrow with this. I think. Shit. Is it enough? I don't know. Oh, I'm definitely not buying those. Damn the 2 agents. I've got a choice now, Rosaria or Yanfei. I choose Yanfei. Rosario will have to wait until tomorrow or something, I guess, depending on how quickly those guys respawn. I need to cut those outro bullshits. Hell yeah, 50 crit damage. You can't take anymore. Are you feeling fever? Are you feeling fever? Getcha. Uninhibited. Get away. Are you feeling fever? Are you feeling fever? Getcha. I could get this to 20 if possible, but I don't think I have the necessary materials to get that done. Yeah. Oh, this is a terrible crit rate thing anyway, but that is too much level. Oh, that's actually good. And you only wanna love daddy. And you only wanna do me, daddy. I keep right back, cause you got that, yeah. And you only wanna act like lovers. And you only wanna be each other. I say don't get back, cause I go right back there. All I found that I'm hypnotized with the one that I can't deny. I'm gonna walk away. You turn me on like a light switch. You can wheel your body around and around. You don't wanna fight this. You know how to just make me want you. Turn me on like a light switch. And you wheel your body around and around. Can you keep me guessing, and you leaving and you leave me stressing out. I'll be right there, can you walk like that girl? And you always wanna act like lovers, and you never wanna be each other. All I found and I'm hypnotized, you're the one that I can't deny. I'm running out of good artifacts that I want. I'm fine with getting rid of. Should get me to 20% 30,000 HP for Shinobu now though. Or not. Fuck. Whatever. Come on, and show me how you do. You want me, wanna keep me loving you. I need more. Elemental mastery for Yanfei. She needs it. You want to just make me want to. Come on, and show me how you do. You want me. Yes! Lucky! Way too lucky. Might as well get this to 20. Oh well. Great. Ah shit, I need another Cinnamon. That one has elemental mastery, but I'll lose a lot of crit rate. So well, 50 elemental mastery will do, I suppose. Let's do this. Oh. This story doesn't make sense anymore. Smug. This is a lot of lore. Cool, kill quest. I can do that. Ahoy there, matey. Wow. I think I went the wrong way. This was the big threat, huh? What? Whoa! Did they die? No! I wasted my... Oh, hey. I guess it wasn't all bad. How do I get that though? I can't hear anything. There's a will, there's a way. Anything can be bought for the right oil. Like so. Alright, how the hell am I gonna get back up there? Hey, a cava. There's a cava. Were they always called that?
Blinding sunlight is such a pain. No way I can get a nap in this weather.
Hello there. No! Oh my god, this is so unbearable. Wow, that was a lot of damage.
Stand with me! So much work for a measly 40 primos. Fuck happened to the internet? 999 milliseconds.
I don't think if the sun disappears I can do anything about it. But sure, if you guys are that confident in me. You float. I'm not sure how much calories floating would burn, but... Ugh. Well, I signed up for this. That's my Discord, by the way.
Treasure. One way to draw your target out of hiding.
Are you kidding me? May as well deal with this.
Take it easy.
Didn't work. Again. No, it keeps going to the fucking branches for some reason. No! There we go.
Things are about to get dicey.
The Temple of Wisdom! Grow!
Lightning, purify! Our bond is strong.
Quietly now.
This way, turn a little. Motion to compel. Yeah!
Busted.
Dissipate.
Hey! Boom, boom! Ja! Remarkable condition.
Oh god. They're blooming. Fuck. What?
This blinding sunlight is such a pain. No way I can get a nap in this weather.
Huh. Sure. I definitely like the mushrooms. The springy mushrooms. The way that you activate them as well as the effect that happens when you activate them. Way better than the other bouncy thing that literally just increases your jump height. It is the exact same thing. There, it's just they add the effect, which makes it feel a lot more natural.
Committed to memory. Stand with me.
Which goes a long way.
Motion to compel. I see everything.
Quietly now.
Let's appraise the value on this.
A chest full of valuables and a trove of potential clues.
Clues for what?
A chest full of valuables and a trove of potential clues. No! Can't see.
Insolent.
Our bond is strong. Boom boom.
Take it easy. Treasure. One way to draw your target out of hiding.
Dang it. Sophia needs to get the C6. You're gonna come to life. I knew it.
Sharing my knowledge.
Here comes the catch.
I'll settle this. Motion to compel. Breath of the flame.
I should play Ocarina of Time one of these days. We did it. So everyone, all the Aranara talk like Nahida.
It's raining again? Oh, this isn't good. If the rain washes away the traces, it's gonna set us...
I'm getting quite hungry. I'll be right back.
Something on your mind again? Let's work through it together. 2 heads are better than 1. What they say is true. You have to see the world for yourself to appreciate how beautiful it is.
May as well, I brought up my charger now, along with some grub. Right, I picked Mamon to eat, which isn't a good idea in hindsight. Wow. Wow.
Treasure. One way to draw your target out of hiding.
There's a ruin guard. Oh, okay. Honor has no place in combat.
Busted.
Committed to memory.
Our bond is strong. Incinerate!
This might hurt a little.
A single ruin guard is easy. Another one won't be any different. Oh, okay. Not if I miss like that.
Gotcha. Stand with me.
I guess some of them know how to fight. But I hate how smug he is about it though.
Quietly now.
Our bond is strong.
Committed to memory.
Gotcha.
Okay. I can't swim either. Hold on, I want to check something. 8 opponents. Why would floating increase your resistance? You're technically more vulnerable when you're not grounded. Makes no sense. Any elemental reactions will do. I thought it was Dendro specifically. But that's elemental reactions and Dendro cores from Bloom. It happen every 2.5 seconds. It's a lot of damage. I'd like for it to be every 2 seconds. To do that, I need 2 characters. Maybe with enough levels. Yeah, it's like 1,500 plus 2,700. It's a simple device. What?
Grow, grow, grow! Boom, boom! Ha! Ta! Sia! Chia! Chia!
Frog. Big. Starting tomorrow. If we fight all those ruin guards, that's abyss level bullshit. Maybe we fight them in waves. Here they come. Oh, that guy's taking dendro damage for some reason.
Everyone hold hands! The Temple of Wisdom!
my way!
Game's up. Fun's over.
Time for your arraignment! Incinerate!
Come on, keep them coming.
Boom boom! I see everything!
Busted. It's raining again? Oh, this isn't good.
Right, one thing left to do. I'll continue next time. I've been playing for long enough. I'll do work after lunch. Maybe I'll go play some Toho Lost Word.